boys and girls. Today we are teaching math lesson 117. And you can see I've got my kitchen apparel on, and it's a time to remember that we have learned about the spicy meatballs and the hill of estimation. And all I've got is my Thanksgiving goblet apron, okay? So it says gobble, tell you wobble. We're going to be talking about estimation today. We're going to add to our knowledge of what we already know about. Rounding whole numbers through 100 million is the concept for today. So, I have got some fun activities for us. We're just going to get right into. This particular problem comes from your example number 1. And we're going to estimate it to the nearest 10, to the nearest 100. Oh, you can't see me right there. I'm going to twist my camera a tiny bit and pick up my rolling marker. There we go. And we're going to be estimating to the nearest 100, the nearest 1,000, the nearest 10,000, and then we're going to move on and eventually get to estimating to the nearest million. So this is a little bit of a refresher. So here we go. If we're going to estimate to the nearest 10, what do? We first underline the digit in the tens place value. If you forgot about the place of value, look on the top of page 736. It's a refresher for you. It's right there, okay? And so here we go. We've got the nearest 10, and we use the number after that to tell us, do we stay the same or do we go up? Okay, well, we stay the same because 4 is only not halfway up our spicy meatball hill. So if I thought about number 74 and I brought that over here and I had 74. Okay, my options for that would be, that's kind of not easy to read, so we're going to do it in black. 74. If I had that number, my options would be 70 and 80. And then I think about what's halfway up my spicy meatball hill of pasta. 75. And so what is this spicy meatball thing? You're wondering, oh, remember, these are all your pile of noodles. Your pile of noodles. And then keep dumping them on there. I love pasta. And I love spicy meatballs. Okay, so if I think about the number 74, I've got 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. It would be like a number line turned into a spicy meatball hill. So 74 would be about right there. So that's where my meatball would go. Where would it go? It would roll down the hill to 70. So this number rounds to 70 right there. And that's a little difficult to read, no? No, it's sort of. So we have 38,700. 38,270, because 74 rounds to 70. Okay, that's just a little bit of a crash course reminder. Now we're going to round to the nearest 100. So we look at the, I'm going to grab a different red marker. Yeah, oh yeah, that's how we like it. Okay, now we find the nearest 100. We find the hundreds place value. We underline it. We go to the next column over, and that, or the next place value over, that tells us, do we go up or do we stay the same? So we're looking at this number 274 because we're rounding to the nearest 100. And we've got our new numbers on our spicy meatball hill. Okay, we've got 274. So we've got 274. So that gives me, I'm going to be at 200 or 300. Okay? So then I sounded like the Grouch in Sesame Street for a second there. 274. What's halfway between 200 and 300? That's right, 250. Okay, so where does 274 fall on this really fancy number line? It would fall somewhere over about here. So 274 or 74. Okay? Lands about right there. This is my meatball is going to roll down the hill to 300. Okay, so 274 rounds to 300. So we have 38,300. And that kind of gets in the way there, but you can see it. So 300, it rounds to 38,300. Now we're going to round to the nearest 1,000. You guessed it. We're going to underline the 1,000's place value and use the 2 to the right of that to decide, do we stay the same or do we go up? If we brought that to my spice and meatball the hill, our new choices, we get rid of that meatball and we add a new meatball and we fix our hill, and our number we are working with is 8,274. I can simply just add an 8 right there to, and I am going to be at possibilities of 8,000 and 9,000. So 8,200, what's halfway between the 8,000 and the 9,000? 8,500 is correct. So where does 8,274 land? It's somewhere, probably about down there. So my meatball goes right there. Where does it go? It goes down to 8,000. So where are we at here? The 2 is lower than 5, so he rounds to keep it the same, 2, 3, so 38,000 when I round to the nearest 1,000. And when I look at that, I see here is my 1,000, my number. Okay, 38,000. Now I go to the nearest 10,000. The nearest 10,000. So you guessed it. I underline my 10,000's place value and I circle the digit to the right of that, and it tells me I go up. I go up. So my 3 is going to become a 4. But just for fun, we will take our spicy meatball hill one last and final time, and we will not use it anymore, but if you would like to, you may. So we get rid of our numbers here, and we get rid of that, and we get rid of that, and we have the 38, we just put a 3 in front of that, and what is it going to be? My options is going to be 30,000 and 40,000. And halfway between 30,000 and 40,000 is 35,000. So then I think, where would 38,274 land? It would land somewhere approximately right there if I just use my estimation skills, and it would roll down the hill to 40,000. So this number rounds to 40,000. 40,000. My accent makes it sound like 4, but it's 40,000. So hopefully you remember that. But now I'm going to take off my spicy meatball chef's hat because my voice is hurting, and I'm going to just go back to Mr. Mondale's normal voice. There it is. Okay, so that hopefully makes sense, and you remember when we learned about estimating, we learned about the spicy meatball and the hero estimation. Okay, so now we are moving to a larger number. Okay, so we can see that just goes right down. Okay, we start with 70. Okay, and then the 300. It gets one digit bigger, one digit bigger, one digit bigger. And it just keeps growing depending on what we're estimating to, okay? Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, okay? So if they tell us to, in this number, okay, estimate to the nearest 10, estimate to the nearest 100, estimate to the nearest 1,000, 10,000, and then 100,000, okay? So we start at the beginning. Here, we estimate to the nearest 10. Here we estimate to the nearest 100, to the nearest 1,000, to the nearest 10,000, to the nearest 100,000. So we just keep moving over like that if we were to think about it in that way, okay? So when I'm looking at that, I use my 1. My 1 tells me, not that I go down, but that I stay the same, okay? So it stays 80. Okay, so that number, okay, I use the 1, that tells me it's going to stay 80. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of there. Okay, and so that stays 80 there. And then the rest of this is still the same. 6, 7, 2, 4. 6, 7, 2, 4. Do my comma hop, 1, 2, 3. 427,680 is that number rounded to the nearest 10. Okay, now I look at rounding to the nearest 100, I take my 6, okay, and that's my hundredths place value. I use the digit to the right of that, which is 8, which tells me if it's greater than, it's 5 or greater, then we go up, okay, so that would round 681 up to 700 right there, okay. So I start with 700. And I'm going to erase that a little bit. I think I'm going to run into it. Okay, so that becomes 700. Well, then I still have the rest of my number, which is 724. Okay, so how do I read that? Okay, 427,700 because it rounds to the nearest 100. Now if I round to the nearest 1,000, okay, I take my 7, okay, and that is my thousands place value. I look at the next digit to the right of that, which is a 6. The 6 is 5 or greater. It's greater than 5, or it's 5 or greater. So it rounds 7 up to 8. So that would be, okay, 8,000. Okay, so then I got to write 8,000 here. But don't put your comma in yet, okay? Even though I did that up here, I shouldn't have, okay? 8,000. Now, what numbers are left when 7,681, okay, becomes 8,000? Now I got the 2 and the 4 left. The 2 and the 4. Okay, so now I can comma hop it by 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and 428,000. That's what that rounds to the nearest 1,000. Okay, now if I go to the nearest 10,000, okay, now I underline the 10,000th place value, which I already did, and that is a 2. Okay, I use my next number to the right of that, my digit to the right of that, which is a 7. 7 is greater than 5, so that rounds it up. So my 2 becomes a 3. Okay, my 2 becomes a 3, and the rest is zeros. Okay, so 27,681 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 30,000. Okay, I still have my 4 left as part of this particular number. Now I comma hop it. 1, 2, 3, 430,000. Okay, hopefully this is making sense and you can see this. It's nice to see it all sequentially like that when they're all listed right next to each other, and your book doesn't do that. Okay, I think that helps a lot. Okay, so now we look at to the nearest 100,000, and I believe you guys can read that. Okay, yeah. Okay, to the nearest 100,000. So I underline the 100,000 place value. Okay, and then I look at the digit to the right of that, which is a 2. 2 is lower than 5, so that keeps it the same. The 4 is going to stay the same. It doesn't. Okay, so that becomes 4, and everything else is 0. So 400,000. Okay, so I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I comma hop it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is 400,000. Okay, so now you knew that already, but that was just a nice little crash course review with the spicy meatball hero estimation. Okay, but now we're gonna swipe all that thinking, and we're gonna take one bigger number, and we're gonna round to the nearest 100 million. Oh man, we sound so big and smart when we're rounding to the nearest 100 million. Okay, and if we were going to write all those out, that would take a long time. So I'm going to start here, right up here in the top. Okay, and example 4 doesn't quite get us to 100 million. It only gets us to the 10 million place value. So I'm going to not do the example 4. I'll let you read that on your own. I'm going to go to a problem right from your, whoa baby, right from your lesson practice, okay? And I'm going to take the number 412,500,000. 412,500,000. Now, to me, that's too easy of a number, so I'm going to make it a little bit more challenging, and I'm going to throw in a 7,358. So this is not a lesson practice question. This is just a number Mr. Mondo has made up to help you understand this concept. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now if I was going to do this, I would have by the tens. Okay, round it to the nearest tens. Okay, how many times would I have to write this? Okay, this would be 412, 507, 358. Okay, and this would be rounded to the nearest 10, to the nearest 20, or not 20, 10, to the nearest 100, then to the nearest 1,000, then to the nearest 10,000. Okay, and then I keep going. I got to go to the next nearest, which would be 100,000. Okay, so 412, 507, 358. Okay, that is to the nearest 100,000. Okay, and then I go to what's after that? Million. 412, 507, 358. That's to the nearest 1 million. Next, I'm going to go to the nearest 10 million after that. 412, 507, 358, and 1 last time. 358, writing at the bottom of the board is kind of hard. Okay, so then this is going to be to the nearest 10 million, and this is going to be to the nearest 100 million. Okay, so when we're looking at all this, okay, I'm going to twist this camera just a smidgen so you can see me better. Okay, all right, so we look at this. We got we're going to start at the nearest 10, okay, because we say round it to the nearest 10. So we have this big, huge number, and all we're going to change is the tens, okay? Everything stays the same other than the 10. Okay, now this is going to get in my way because these numbers are so huge and your brains are so huge at this point in the year. So now, you guys, we need to erase that to get this huge number on there, okay? So we got the, if we thought about the spicy meatball halo estimation, we just got 58. That's easy. My options are 50 and 60. Okay, 58. Okay, so I that's going to be, I'm not going to put it on there. You guys can visualize that. You can draw it out if you need to, okay? But I just use the 8, okay? The 8 brings it up. So 58 rounds to 60. Okay, so I write all these numbers the same, except at the end I end up writing 60 instead of 58. Okay, so how do I read that? This is the millions. So I say 412 million. This is the 100,000s. 507,300, and then this becomes, and I'm just going to write it in red so you can see the difference, 60. Okay? That show up okay? Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to switch to blue. Is going to look too similar to black though. Okay, we'll stick with red. Okay? All right, so now, next thing I do is I'm going to round to the nearest 100, okay? Because it tells me to round to the nearest 100. Okay, so the only thing that's going to change is my last three digits there in the hundreds place value. Okay, so I use the 5. That helps me know what to do with the 3. 5 is greater. Okay, if it's 5 or greater, it goes up. So 358 on my spicy hill meatball would end up going to 400. Okay, so everything stays the same except that last piece. So this becomes 4. I'm just going to put it right underneath. 412, 507, and that 358. That 5 tells us it goes up to 400. Okay. So now we're going to do the next one. Okay. It tells me to round to the nearest 1,000. Okay, so nearest 1,000, I underline my 7 because that's in the thousands place value. I circle my 3, the digit to the right of that. That is less than 5, so I stay the same. So this the 7,000 number, okay, so that doesn't go to 8,000, it stays the same. That's 7,000. That's all going to be 7,000. The rest of the number stays the same. So I have 412,507,000. Oh, wait. Okay. Now, remember, we're in the thousands. So this is what changes here. 7,000. Okay. So this becomes 7,000. Okay. And that becomes the number that's changed because I estimated to the nearest 1,000. So you can see, if you look at just the red, okay, that's how would I say that? 7,000. If I look at just the red there, 400. Just the red, 60. Okay, nearest 10, nearest 100, nearest 1,000. Hope this is making sense and you're getting a good review and remembering all this stuff. Okay, next number to the nearest 10,000. My shadow, 10,000, there's 10,000. Okay, so we underline the 0. Okay, now here had I picked a different number. Okay, and then the 7, no, this works out actually. Okay, then the 7 is my number to the right of that. That tells me what do I do with it. Okay, and so that 7 tells me I need to go up. So my 0 rounds up to a 1. Okay, so this becomes, the rest of it stays the same. 412 million. Okay, 5. Okay, now here's where my 10,000s place would be. Okay, this would be the number in the 10,000s place. That the 7 rounded it up to a 1. Okay, and the rest was zeros. Okay, so that number right there, 10,000. Okay, so it rounded up. Okay, now we estimate the next one to the nearest 100,000. Where are we? Right there. Okay, you have to know your place value chart. Again, that's at the top of your page on 736. If you need to review that and refresh that in your mind, that should be stuck in. Okay, so we use the number to the right of that, which is a 0, which is this 0 right here. Okay, 0 tells us it stays the same, so this is all going to be 500,000. Okay, so when we estimate this one, okay, what does it estimate to? The 412 stays the same, so 412 million. Okay, and then remember the 0 kept it at the same. 500,000. So this is in the 100,000s. Okay, that's where we see that. Okay, next one. We go to this number here. It's hard for you to read probably. Is 1 million. Okay, 6 zeros is a million. Okay, so I underline the 1 million's place value, which is a 2. Okay, I use the number to the right of that, which is a 5. 5 or greater tells us to go up. So my 2 is going to go up. Okay, so this would be in the 2 million is going to now go to a 3 million because 507,000 is greater. So 2 million, if I, just for fun, okay, I'm just going to make this spicy hill meatball. Okay, so right here, since we're in the million, okay, we're dealing with 2 million, okay, or 3 million, okay. So it's either going to be 2 million or 3 million, okay? And to understand this, what's halfway between, okay? What's halfway between 2 million and 3 million? 2,500,000 because half of a million is 500,000. Okay, so now when I look at that, this is 507 million. Okay, so that would be my meatball would end up being like right here. Okay, because it's a little bit past 500,000. Okay, it's 507,000. Okay, so this would be where 2,507,358, okay, would be about right there, and it would roll down the hill, down the hill over there to 3,000, okay? So that's where the 5 rounds the 2 up and makes this, okay, 412, not 12 anymore because it rounded it up, okay, 413 million okay, so 413 million, okay, so there's 3 million, okay, so that rounded that up, okay, that was this one, okay. Next one, we're going to the 10 million. Oh, baby, we're almost there. Okay, so we use the 2, okay, and the 2 causes that 1. What does that cause that 1 to do? Stay the same. It doesn't move it up. Okay, so that becomes, all this is going to be 1, 0, 0, 0, all the way to the end. Okay, so now all I'm going to have is, okay, 4, 1, 0, okay, so 410, and this one actually is the red one that we're dealing with now here, okay, 410 million, okay. $410 million is what that rounds to, okay? So now we are our final one, okay? And we have the 4, okay, the 100 million. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back over here so you can see me again just a little bit. And we got the 4, okay? And the 4, we use the number to the right of that, which is a 1. The 1 causes us to keep it the same. So the 4 is not going to go up to 500 million. Okay, it's going to stay the same at 400 million. Okay, so everything else becomes 0. So we have 400 million. And now my voice hurts from doing spicy meatball voice, okay? So that's pretty fun, okay? And pretty easy. So hopefully that was a great review for you guys. And you are able to go through and do the lesson practice. Before we do that, though, I have a feeling there was a few of you waiting to hear the answer to the riddle about Jeff. Remember, the riddle was Jeff had $28.75. He purchased 3 cookies that cost $1.50 each, 5 newspapers that cost 50 cents, each cost 50 cents, and then 5 flowers for $1.25 each, and he used the remainder of the cash on a pair of sunglasses. How much were the sunglasses? The answer you should have received or got was $15.50. Okay, so I bet there's a few of you wishing for another riddle, and here is the other riddle for you will get the answer to tomorrow. If you watch the lesson, at some point in the lesson, the riddle answer will come. Maria went to the bread store to buy a loaf of bread for dinner. She had 2 quarters, 4 dimes, 3 nickels, 2 pennies. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that. She had 2 quarters, 4 dimes, 3 nickels, and 2 pennies. The total cost of the bread was 82 cents. She promised to make sure that she had exactly 1 coin remaining after the purchase. What coins did she have left after buying the loaf of bread? Try to figure that one out. We'll see you tomorrow, kids.